Xbox, you really love finding a way to shoot your foot off, regrow it, and then shoot it off again on a regular basis. In the latest blunder to the Xbox program, Microsoft has announced a significant price increase for Game Pass subscribers, the third price increase in the last 2 years, and a shifting of benefits across the board. Xbox Game Pass Ultimate is going from $20 a month to $30 a month and adding a bunch of extra benefits to justify it. It's also the only tier of Xbox Game Pass going forward that will deliver day one exclusives for subscribers. Game Pass Premium is replacing the standard program and staying at $15 a month, while Essential, formerly Core, is staying at $10 a month. The Premium program will offer new Xbox published games within a year of launch rather than day one, while Essential is a very limited selection of games and access to online gaming, basically. The changes obviously have not been received well across the board. It was also followed up by a pretty scathing report from Bloomberg via PC Gamer that last year's Call of Duty, the first to release day one on the program, led to an estimated $300 million in lost sales. And of the copies it did sell directly, 82% of them were on PlayStation. To me, those numbers seem to indicate that Call of Duty did not drive the subscriber increase to Xbox Game Pass that Microsoft was hoping for. And with a pretty clear lack of hype for this year's Call of Duty Black Ops 7, that's not a good sign for the company, considering what they paid to acquire Activision Blizzard. Oh, and if you look really closely at the small print, wouldn't you know it, the premium version of Game Pass doesn't even include Call of Duty. So you can only get that if you pay the $30 a month, which at that point you should just buy the game outright. See how that works? Play devil's advocate for a moment here. Xbox has clearly realized they're undervaluing their own exclusive titles. Pretty much every exclusive they've ported over to PlayStation has made it to the top sellers list. I never thought I'd see Gears of War as a top seller on PlayStation, but it's in the top 10 this month. I can only guess what Halo would sell on the platform. I think developers have been right on the money that while Game Pass is obviously a great deal for consumers, it's cannibalizing the sales of their games and forcing them to rely on the subscription service, which may end up hurting them in the long run more than it benefits them. Clearly, there seems to be a shift in strategy at Xbox, pricing a program like Game Pass Ultimate higher for the people who are more than likely getting the most use out of it, playing multiple games a month from within the service. The problem is, this shift has made the service less appealing to everyone else. Removing day one exclusives from every tier, besides Ultimate, kills the most attractive part of the program for a lot of people. Creating a service that's more about having a big backlog of games to choose from, rather than having access to whatever big new game is about to hit. And really, outside of the most dedicated video game players, how many people are playing more than a game or two a month? At least with TV subscriptions, you can pretty easily get through a few shows a month. But who has time, unless you're in the games media profession, for multiple 30 to 50 hour games a month? The Xbox subreddit in particular made their opinions clear about what they think of the subscription at the $30 price point. For many, it's just no longer worth the value, and they'd be better off just buying the games they want again. When the news was announced, players straight up crashed the website because so many were going to cancel at once. Xbox is trying to justify the price increase by noting that Ultimate now includes Fortnite Crew and Ubisoft Plus, two services that nobody subscribing to Xbox Game Pass is there for. In fact, you don't even need an Xbox Game Pass subscription to play Fortnite in the first place. So unless they're hoping to appeal to the people that live and breathe Fortnite, I can't understand how they thought this was a benefit for their active subscribers. To cap it all off, Xbox also quietly removed discounts from DLC purchases for Game Pass subscribers, instead opting for a rewards point program, because everyone just loves those. Why yes, Xbox, let me just buy $100 of DLC so I can get a $5 gift card for Starbucks that doesn't even pay for one cup of coffee these days.
Coffee. 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 Coffee.
In a statement to IGN, an Xbox spokesperson explained this updated program in more detail, saying, instead of a discount on the purchases, Ultimate and Premium subscribers will earn 10% and 5% respectively in points when purchasing select games and add-ons from the Game Pass library. Ultimate members continue to have a 20% discount on select games from the Game Pass library. On top of that, all rewards members will earn points when shopping games and add-ons on the store, while Premium and Ultimate subscribers will earn even more. 2x, and 4x respectively. At $30 a month, Xbox Game Pass Ultimate is no longer a set it and forget it subscription, just like pretty much every other subscription out there. Feels like I'm getting a notification about an Apple Plus, an Amazon Prime, or Netflix price increase every few weeks at this point. Netflix in particular is pretty egregious because I can hardly remember the last time they launched a big new show everyone was banging at the door to subscribe for and watch. Xbox seems to think that by just adding more and more perks and games to the program, it justifies the value. But these subscription services are only as valuable as the quality of content on the platform. Telling subscribers that there's over 400 games really doesn't mean anything these days, with so many different games to choose from at any given moment. Unfortunately, I think it's becoming pretty clear that Xbox Game Pass, at least a version of it that we were paying for up until the start of this month, was too good a deal to last for the long haul. A sentiment echoed by seasoned developers like Rafael Colantonio, the founder of Arcane Studios. Back in July, he said, "I think Game Pass is an unsustainable model that has been increasingly damaging the industry for a decade, subsidized by Microsoft's infinite money, but at some point, reality has to hit. I don't think Game Pass can coexist with other models. They'll either kill everyone else or give up." Former Vice President of Marketing and Communications at Bethesda, Pete Hines, also wasn't too hot on Game Pass. In an interview with the outlet DoubleTap, Hines said, "Subscriptions have become the new four-letter word, right? You can't buy a product anymore. When you talk about a subscription that relies on content, if you don't figure out how to balance the needs of the service and the people running the service with the people who are providing the content, without which your subscription is worth jack shit, then you have a real problem. You need to properly acknowledge, compensate, and recognize what it takes to create that content, and not just make a game, but make a product," he elaborated. That tension is hurting a lot of people, including the content creators themselves, because they're fitting into an ecosystem that is not properly valuing and rewarding what they're making. Shannon Loftus, who is the former head of Xbox Game Studios, agreed with Hines on LinkedIn and said, "As a longtime first-party Xbox developer, I can attest that Pete is correct. While Game Pass can claim a few victories with games that otherwise would have sunk beneath the waves, Human Fall Flat, etc., the majority of game adoption on Game Pass comes at the expense of retail revenue, unless the game is engineered from the ground up for post-release monetization. I could, and may someday, write pages on the weird inner tensions this creates." Pretty scathing indictment of the model coming from two formerly high-profile people from within the Xbox program. Xbox has been tooting the "we're for the consumer" horn ever since Phil Spencer took the helm, but their actions continue to show the exact opposite. For every good decision Xbox makes, it seems there's always some bad decision just waiting around the corner. It's hard to feel bad for a company worth over $1 trillion screwing over a program that was regularly touted as the best deal in gaming. At least PlayStation players are getting some fun new games to play.